There's something horribly wrong with this.
Yeah, what do you want?
Yes, hi, I need a part for my furnace.
Who is this?
This runs.
You're watching Granite Shore Studios.
What are you doing? Okay, so my neighbor calls me about 11 o'clock at night and tells me it's freezing in his apartment. So I go down to the basement and take a peek at his furnace. For some reason, I'm like, I think I can figure out what's going on. So I messed with it a couple hours trying to figure it out, and I narrowed it down to the board. And in this video, I'm going to replace the board. So let's check it out. Okay, so how this works is the inducer motor will turn on. What the inducer motor fan does is it draws air in through here, which the flames come out here. So it would suck the flames in, run it through, and then it exhausts the fumes out here. What this does is it heats the inside of the... What are you doing? It heats the inside of the furnace. It'll know it gets hot enough, and then it'll kick the blower motor on, and it blows the air past the heating inducer or whatever and draws heat into the house. This is a little air hose, and what this does is it confirms that there's draft going up and out the exhaust. The reason for this is it's common that birds can build nests in here where this can get clogged and then carbon monoxide can come into your house. So that's why that pressure switch is important, to confirm that there's actually the exhaust is actually leaving out. If you unplug the, let me turn this off first. The way I figured out it was the board is I unplugged this to simulate that that was damaged, and then when you turn the furnace on, it now will run trying to get the negative pressure. And you can see it's blinking, indicating that code indicates that the pressure valve is left in the open position. On the other hand, if I unplug both these wires and put them together to indicate that the pressure valve is in the stuck closed position, it should give me an error code saying that it's stuck in the air position closed. But instead, it automatically clicks on this gas valve. It just releases gas out into my face. So that's why I was like, it's not following the right procedures. So I'd call the guy to come out and look at it. He charged me 40 bucks to diagnose it, and he confirmed it. Yes, it is in fact this board. This wire here goes to a limiter. There's a limiter, there's a couple of them. There's one in right here for the inside, and then there's one on the fan. I think there's one somewhere else down right here's one above the gas intake. What those do is they determine if the furnace gets too hot, it'll shut off the heat, but it'll leave the fan on. So what I did is I unplugged this. It's hard to do with one hand. Hold on. Oh, I'm gonna have to shut you off. So I disconnected the limiter valve sensor thingy. This one actually goes to the blower motor. Again, it's to indicate that it's too hot, and then it'll shut the heat off, and it'll continue to run the mower and the blower motor until the furnace cools back down. So what I did is I unplugged this, and when I turn it on, the fan comes on immediately, and I actually let it run like this last night so that he would at least get room temperature air blowing into his apartment because it was super cold in there. So I'm gonna plug this back in. That's not a really good connection, but I'll fix it later. So anyways, the guy comes out, says, yeah, you need a new board. and it's gonna be $512 and my landlord's really cheap and he's not gonna pay that happily anyway. But the guy said, look, I'll give you the number to the place where we get our parts, you can probably get it cheaper, and you seem to know what you're doing, so you could probably figure out how to install it yourself. So we went and got the part. It was the place that he gave me didn't actually have the part, but I found another place doing a Google search. I just searched furnace parts and I found a place close to me. They had it in stock and it was only $230. So I purchased that and we're going to attempt to install it. Here's, for a reference, here's my furnace. I'll have to turn on. Okay, so here's my furnace and it's just the exact same model. So if I turn my furnace on, there's a call for heat upstairs. This turns on, and then the pressure switch closes, and then it kind of waits for a little bit, and then you'll hear a relay plug. And the relay is for the glow plug. Those indicator lights mean that it is working correctly. You see how it takes this a while? There's the clip. See, there's the glow plug. It's warming up. You give it a chance for the glow plug to warm up, and it'll kick on the gas. Which is this guy. You can tell there's a significant amount of time before it turns the gas on. On that other furnace, it turns the gas on immediately. Once it realizes it's got a flame, it turns off the glow plug. And then it gives it time for it to warm up. And then it'll kick on the glow motor. And the yellow light on this board means that there's a flame present. And then we're back at my neighbor's furnace, and you can see the difference when I turn it on. There's a call for heat, turns on, this runs, the pressure switch closes, this clicked, which means it's letting gas out, and then it realizes something's wrong, and those alternating lights indicate it's in a 1 hour lockout. And if I were to leave this on, it would attempt to restart every hour and have the same problem. So that's how I narrowed down. It's most likely the board. So now I'm going to try to figure out how to replace this board myself, and you're going to join me.
Yeah, what do you want?
Yes, hi, I need a part for my furnace.
Who is this? What kind of furnace? What do you need?
The thing with all the wires coming out of it.
And what kind of heat box you got?
It's the Landlord Special 9000.
You mean Slumlord Special?
Yeah, let's go with Slumlord.
We'll page you when it's ready.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. Bye for now. Time to go. Taxi! Okay, so I went and picked up the part. This is the board. It looks awfully similar to the one that's in there, so I think that's a pretty good sign. I just had to figure out how to get these connections off the old board, and we're going to install this one. But first, I'm going to make some coffee. The technician confirmed that there's a bad design on that furnace, and that's the board is right by the inducer, which there's a lot of heat present there, so he said that's why that board went out prematurely. tools we're gonna need here. I'm guessing a Phillips screwdriver and maybe a flathead. Pry some of those things off there. In the first step of tracking down the motherboard for your I was going to say computer, for your furnace, you need the model number. In this furnace, the model number is up there. It could be helpful also to get the serial number. If it's not somewhere inside the furnace, it would be probably on the inside of one of the door panels. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is shut the power off. There's this switch, and I'm pretty sure that kills it, but I want to turn it off with the breaker also. I guess that does it. And it seems to not have no power, so I think that did it. Alright, so I guess I'm gonna start by trying to unplug this stuff. Doesn't seem to be very easy. Okay, so if your furnace isn't working, it could be a bunch of different things. It may not be the motherboard. So we'll go through what those things could be. There's that one. Some of these have little tabs you have to squeeze.
So first thing you want to do is check your thermostat. Make sure it's putting out a signal to the furnace.
I think what I'm going to do is plug these into the other board as I'm taking them off so I know where the hell they're going. So hold on.
So before you decide to start disconnecting wires, make sure you take a picture first before you start.
I already don't know. These are different colors.
And before you open up your furnace, look for a little eye port or viewport and look for a blinking light in there. Remember what that light's doing, because that's an indicator telling you
It says 24 volts and common.
an error code. So it may tell you what's wrong with the furnace. If you open the door first, it's going to cut power. There's a safety switch in there. It'll shut the power off, and then you won't be able to see what the code was.
Okay, so the red one goes on top. So I'm going to plug these in.
The first thing that should turn on is that black inducer fan right there. If that's not coming on, then touch it, see if it's hot. It could be that there's something behind there, a dead squirrel or something, preventing it from moving. If it's not hot, it could be that it just failed and you need to replace that.
Big boy one. I'm hoping it only goes in one way. And it does. So I can't get that wrong. And then this guy goes.
The next thing that happens is that pressure switch. So there should be negative air pressure
Here.
making that switch click. If it's not clicking, check that rubber hose to make sure it's clear. So if that inducer fan kicks on and then your furnace shuts off after that, it's likely that pressure valve thing. Check the air code. It'll tell you if that valve is stuck open or closed. In some cases, you can just blow up that line and it may fix it. If not, you'll have to replace the pressure valve switch. After that, your furnace will run for maybe 10-15 seconds, and then you should hear a click, a relay click, and then that glow plug will light up. And then the gas will come on. If the gas fires up, then everything's good there. If the gas comes on but it doesn't light and then your furnace shuts back off, then it's that glow plug. You can temporarily fix that by simply lighting the gas when it turns on, and you'll get heat until the furnace recycles, and then you'll have to light it every time. But that glow plug is pretty easy to fix and replace.
Probably designed not to come off.
If your glow plug turns on and your gas comes on and it lights, and then your furnace shuts off, then it's likely it's the flame sensor. There's a sensor that detects that there's actually flame. If it doesn't see flame, it thinks that it didn't light, so it'll shut back off and try again. The flame sensor should be fairly easy to replace also.
I need to find something to sit on, or else I'm gonna lose feelings in my legs. This is up a little too high, but it'll work. This is number 3.
If your furnace turns on and immediately that blower motor is blowing, it could mean that the limiter switch was tripped, meaning the furnace got too hot at one point and is trying to cool itself off. There are some furnaces that are set up to run the fan for a little bit first and then start the furnace. So if yours does that normally, you shouldn't have a problem.
Yeah.
But if that fan's constantly running, you may need a new limiter switch, and I'm not sure how to fix that one. And then if everything works correctly, but your blower motor's not turning on, then you may need to replace your blower motor.
So I'm guessing my repairman was going to charge me probably $200 just for the labor. They wanted $500 and some dollars for the board, which I was able to find for about half that price. So this is number 5, and they're doing a pretty good markup on that. And on top of it being $500, they didn't have one in stock, so I would have. And it's supposed to be 20 degrees. Today's Friday. It is going to be really cold Sunday. So my neighbors probably have to wait till Monday to get heat. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. This one down here is locked in place by this little tab. And so if I look on this guy, you see that little tooth right there where it kind of locks in. So I gotta figure out how to get that off of there. Get my screw, my release device tool. I'm just gonna put the force on here. Oh, well, that took care of that. This should just come off now. Alright, let me see. Yeah, there are all a bunch of pins right there. Jiggle it. Oh, fuck. I wonder if there's any other locking tabs in here. It doesn't look like it locks any other way, so I'm just getting this come off these tabs. Definitely take some finessing. I wonder. This is just held on by push tabs. I wonder if I can break this free. Doesn't feel like it. Okay, let's try. Use my little pry tool here. There it is. Alright, so this guy. I'm not sure which side I broke the tab on. So you broke on that side, so it's gonna go this way. Seems to be on there pretty securely. Because I broke that tab off, there's only one way that this goes on. But because I broke off that tab, I want to confirm that I put that on the right way. So I'm going to go through the footage again. Hold on. Okay, so it looks like I got it on there the right way. No, I don't. I have to take these leads off here too. These are the wires that come from the thermostat upstairs. And that one seems to be stripped out. I could use the Phillips. I mean the flathead. Okay, so these wires go like right on top of the flames. So I'm gonna rewrite these. Real ensemble them. Goes on top. And I can't really see what I'm doing. Tell those are already open. The screw didn't go very far. So let's get this in here. Let's see this one. Yeah, they were already open. Okay, so that's in there pretty snug. This one down here, through there too. I realize you probably can't see what I'm doing. This one goes in here. Alright, I reckon that's it. I was going to try to put this here where this one goes, but the guy said the reason this failed because it's by the heat. So maybe if I left this out, it would have a longer lifespan. I'm assuming other stuff would go wrong before this anyway. Oh, these switches, let me see what they look like on here. They're set in the same place. Yeah, so apparently there's these toggle switches up here. You could actually, it appears you could change the level of your heat. And it's got high, medium, high, medium, low, and then low. This side it says cool. So either that's something if you have an air conditioning, or maybe it's controls how long the fan stays on after the furnace shuts off. And then there's a jumper here, controls the fan speed. So for example, if the heat coming out of your vents isn't very hot, but it's forceful, in theory, you could change the speed of your fan so it would blow with less force, but the air would be warmer. I wish I'd known that before, because usually what I do is I put like another filter in front of the original filter to kind of restrict the airflow to force the air to slow down. And that's probably not a good way to do that, because that can burn out your blower motor. This one's set down there. It's set in the same place in this. There are multiple prongs, so I don't know exactly where to put this to control the fan speed. So I think I'm just going to leave it for now where it's at. I don't want to screw up anything else. Alright, so it's all rigged up. It looks like hell, but let's turn the power on and see if this thing works. Make sure the switch is off. And hopefully this thing doesn't blow up. That's a good sign. Yes, we did it. It cost me $270 versus probably $600 or $700. For $1,200, you probably could have bought a whole new furnace. So, yes, we did good. All right, thanks for watching.